Hi. So in today's video, I'll be telling you more and yet again about growing hair on my face. And I'll be telling you about the sculpture. So, if that's something for you, if you're curious about the further events from my book Piglet, then we are doing the chapter entitled Jacek Kucaba. It's my drawing teacher. So if that's something for you, stay tuned and off we go. Um, the story of this sculpture starts very, very early when I was still going to primary school, and just by the church there is the oldest museum in Tarnów, and we used to go there. We went there with my teacher, Kościumińska, and I remember the guide telling the story about the sculpture that was entirely covered with hair, and it was a story. The sculpture depicting some saint. I don't know which saint was it, which saint woman was it, but it was a story of her being covered with black hair. So, excuse me, as I imagined it, as I pictured it, I was just like really scared. And I remember my teacher, primary school teacher, like Dorota, standing like this, and looking at me with her big blue eyes. So, and I was imagining the sculpture, and I don't know how long later it took me to, just cut some hair on my lower arm. It's not so bad anymore, but I cut this hair back then, and then it's just grew bigger. Now it's not visible almost at all. It's very subtle, like as if I didn't cut it. But after the visit to the museum, I cut this hair, and I didn't know why it grew bigger, and I had some complexes over that. And then a few years later, when I was a teenager, and my cousin and her best friend told me about shaving the legs, they didn't tell me that you shave only the lower part of the leg and not the entire leg, the upper part and lower part. You don't do that. So I did that. They laughed at me that I shaved my ass, and I started to grow hair on my upper leg. Just it wasn't overly long or something, but it was annoying and it was disturbing, and I knew it was there, and I didn't like it. And then, which was first, and then I think then it was the youth palace. So when I used to go to the youth palace, a colleague over there who was much older was a sculptor, and he made my sculpture. He made me look much older than I was. So I just told him explicitly that I look like 10 years older, older. And he told me, I asked him also if I could get the sculpture. Just wait, because so I asked if I could get that sculpture. No, I could just only take photos. I don't know where are the photos now. Maybe, hopefully, I would be able to find them. Maybe. As far as I know, for now they are gone, and there is the entire story with it, because just when going to Saint Martin Hill during the day, a woman attacked me, and she just stood behind me, and I was bending over, and she just pulled my hair like this. and I had no way to protect myself. I was totally surprised, And my friend, whom I called Kaka, um, she's Aries too, so she's not scared. She's not afraid because I'm Aries too. So and she didn't react. She didn't try to help me. She even didn't tell this woman to stop or anything. That was pretty much it. But it never happened again in my life. It was just this once. But I didn't feel fine because visually it looked bad because some hair was removed from my head and it was lying on the pavement. Um, and what was next? And then that was somewhere around the time of going to Youth Palace. And then I went to that man, Andrei, the sculptor, who made my sculpture. He had a mother who is a hairdresser. So I went to the hairdresser to her, and I had, and I cut my hair, and she cuts my hair in a weird shape, like, it would be. Oh, this is not really. So my hair would be cut in almost a straight line, and then yeah. So it would be like this. You have a straight line basically, and then there's just a little something, a triangle over here. It was weird. It was weird. And during that time, there would be a man who would come to drawing classes, and he actually had no hair in the middle. He was my model's brother, and he had no hair in the middle, and it made me feel somehow insecure. And Jacek would tell stories about the water in Krakow. It's very rigid, it's very thick, and people lose hair. And I think he gave us his example that he lost some hair in Krakow because of the water, the type of water that was there. So I was listening to those stories, right? And then I myself went to live in Krakow, and I think Kasia was supposed to be. I'm just looking for the notes, forgive me. So I'm probably living with Kasia and Magda, and Magda was my first thing ever. And this is where I started to think that I would like to draw hair on my face, and I don't care. So here's the thing, if you think it once or twice, that's probably not a problem when you have a stupid thing, a fault from time to time. But I was actually putting some energy into repeating that fault, not knowing that, not knowing that it matters what you think. And it doesn't mean that, oh, you thought it twice, 3, 5 times, and it's going to happen. But that I actually spent time on it, and I was repeating it, and then it happened. And the reason why I was repeating it is because I believed it was impossible to happen. So it happened. And I wanted to say something, but I don't. Yeah. So later on, basically, I just grew. I just had a hormonal imbalance, and something that I thought was impossible happened in my life, and it looked terribly because here it was a little bit of white hair, and here these areas were very difficult because they grew bigger, and even around here I had some hair that I didn't like. In here there were two black thicker hair. So I don't understand how could I repeat it if I had those experiences with growing them over here, growing them on my upper leg when I didn't want to see them, and I had a thing about it. So I couldn't even consciously tell you, oh, with hair, this and this happened in my life. We went and saw a sculpture, and then I cut my hair. I couldn't even recall that and link that and connect that. So as if the access to my own memories was somehow, it was harder when you don't meditate. It's harder to have even this complex, this more holistic picture of what was it like in your life, period. So therefore it doesn't make any sense for me, even more, that I could repeat this phrase, that I could grow my hair on my face and I don't care. So that's, for me, that is yet another example that shows you that not all your faults are actually yours, truly, because it was a stupid thought, and then it happened. And when it happened in here, oh, that was a lot. And later I lived with Miss Zosia Wiśniewska, and not only I grew hair where I shouldn't grow my hair, but I started to lose my hair from head. So when that happened, I started to buy the shampoo for growing hair. And when I bought those shampoos, knowing that I could grow something, I was just scared when I kept this shampoo longer, so that the shampoo wouldn't go into places that it shouldn't go. So as I had those worries over it, and Miss Zosia told me, just be careful, because you can grow hair in the places where you don't have hair. And I'm like, can that happen? And she's like, probably it can. So, just wondering if there is anything else in that topic. I think there is. I think I wanted to tell you. What about? So, yeah, I think I wanted to tell you about the concept of voodoo dolls. So I have learned from Ivy the occultist that in occultism, in witchcraft, you have dolls, and if you want to make someone suffer, you can put a pin into the doll, for example. Probably with, maybe some ritual alongside of it, or something. But the idea, the concept of the voodoo doll is being applied in occult practices. So when it comes to my face and hair, there's more, because I started to age faster and my face was just growing bigger, and it really changed a lot prematurely, too early. But I was explaining that all with, with the fact of infection, and I didn't take care of it properly and right away. So, this is how I explained those changes on my face. That was pretty much aging. And it was not only that, but, my emotional responses and empathy were impoverished too. And when I met the sculptor, not only I was meeting him when I didn't want to meet him, then all of a sudden there is Andre in the streets. Just when I didn't want to see him, then there he was. But one day he just told me that his relative, I will not give you the detail who, but his relative died. He started to cry, and he cried like for 5 seconds, and then he was gone with crying. Done with crying. And I realized that, I didn't know what to do. And my reaction, my response, my natural response was as if, something was blocked. And I think he was checking my empathy in that conversation. And I think, you know, the way he cried in front of me, it was just not natural, because it was like, you know, and gone. So um, what can I say? This was what happened. But what has been, and if anything has been done to my sculpture, for me, yeah, it's possible. It's possible because, you know, even my photography teacher used to take photos of me, and it's possible because I myself had a lot of photos taken of me when I was naked, just a baby girl. And I understand that, you know, you can take a photo or two, you know, five, I don't know. You can take 5 naked photos of your baby. It may happen, right? Not a big deal, because nudity of the baby is not a big deal, right? But if you have like at least 14 of those photos, and then you turn the page and there you have almost another 14, that's like 28. That's like, you know, that's a lot of photos when you have this big album, and you just look and you see, oh my, like what is this about? Or you have photos with your cousin, kissing with your cousin, just like, but still, you know. Or photos with monkeys, just when having this fuller picture in the context of, you know, mimicking and actually doing it, performing it in my own life, and having my sisters performing, mimicking in their own lives. Therefore, I think, you know, those monkeys maybe were not so accidental, and maybe Sadhguru, who talks about, you know, changing the way somebody looks by changing their geometry, maybe makes some sense. Although I don't know how is it precisely done, but here comes the, you know, Jacek's exercise where he talks about, you know, cubicism and, you know, introducing some geometric forms into the models. So you look at him and you change him into geometrical forms. Yeah, I need to learn more about it. That's all I know. Yeah. So Piglet is on sale, and so is Amelia, and the price is changing, growing $1 every day. So today is the day, I think. So if you want to have a better price, then check it out, and you will find all the info in the description of the film, on my website, on my Facebook, Instagram accounts. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.